Welcome to Alive with Amanda. I'm actually going to be answering a question today that came up in our group, my Private Practice Collective. Somebody asked, when will I start seeing profit when I start my private practice? So if you're following a profit first method, you'll start seeing profit right away. So I'll run you through some numbers. I know sometimes I start losing people when I talk numbers, but I want you to see how this might work for you. You really want to take a look at what your expenses are going to be for your practice. If you're doing a virtual practice or if you have an office. Office space is usually one of the most costly things when running a practice. So if you're renting an office space and it's $25 an hour, then you have to account for that in the expenses that you have and how that might change as you grow. You also want to look at things like an electronic health record. Maybe there are some other expenses that you have every single month. So if you are renting an office space, you're just starting out and you're paying for that office space in full and it's $500 a month plus your electronic health record and maybe some other fees, and you have $1,000 worth of expenses when you're just starting off, you might not see that profit right away. But if you're paying for an office space by the hour, which a lot of people do starting off, you can see profit a lot quicker. Or if you have a virtual space, you can see profit a lot quicker. Most of the time, what we recommend is that people pay themselves 50% of what they bring in, and they set aside 30% for expenses. In the beginning, your expenses are going to be really high, probably compared to what you bring in, but then eventually they will the comparison will be there. So there might be a time when your expenses are not necessarily at 30%. Maybe your expenses are closer to 50%, and then you have to maybe pay yourself 30%, and then you eventually will get to a point where you're paying yourself 50%. And then you always want to set aside around 15% for taxes, and then you can take 5% for profit for yourself. Isn't that a fun way to do it? So you can see profit right from the beginning. Again, this really depends on your particular circumstances. So when this question came up, that's what I talked about. It took me 1 year to go from renting office space from somebody part-time to being full-time in private practice and really making a livable wage. So for me, it's not really about when will you see profit initially. It's about when will I have a livable wage? When will I make up the salary that I had from the job that I left, plus benefits, plus, vacation and all of these other things and taxes. And so that again is going to depend on how quickly you fill up. There's a lot of things that go into how quickly you fill up. Your location, your specialties, your own personality, marketing, whether you do private pay, whether you do insurance. There's a lot of things to consider in how quickly you get filled up. Right now, mental health is really hot. I've been seeing people fill up pretty quickly in their private practices. So this might be a good time for you to decide to go into private practice. I'm going to talk about profit a little bit more, but first I want to thank our sponsor, TherapyNotes. If you're just starting out and you're looking for an electronic health record that can really help you run a successful private practice, I want you to take a look at TherapyNotes. They can help you run a virtual or in-person practice. They have a wonderful free telehealth option. You can accept insurance. You can bill directly through there, or you can be private pay. They send reminders to clients, and what really makes TherapyNotes stand apart is their customer service. So if you need some help, they're there for you. So going back to profit, you always want to prioritize profit. You always want to include that in your budget. You always want to make sure that you're working towards that 5% and that you're really accounting for that from the very beginning. So I love that that person was talking about profit right from the beginning. In the first 3 months, it might not be as much as you want it to be. You might not be able to make a livable wage in the first few months, but I promise you, if you keep at it, you too will build a successful private practice. I'm here most days answering your questions. See you soon, everybody. Bye.